we will bring Julie in. Hey, how's it going?
Hi, thanks for having me on.
For sure. Thanks for coming on.
So, I wanted to talk about the song that Anthony or Oliver Anthony's song,
Yeah.
and how it made me feel. The first thing I want to say is that women hold up half the sky. And I'm not doing too great right now. Like, I'm pretty food insecure, I'm pretty broke. And like yesterday, I went to go to the mission to get dinner and actually got turned away because there was no food left. It is hard out here. Like, it is really hard out here. And that song, that Oliver Anthony song, like really hurt me when he started talking about that woman being fat. Um, and I know that this is like a like real macho channel, and you don't talk about girls' feelings, but I mean, I'm fat. I'm fat because I had two kids. And I eat garbage food because I'm poor. And I feel like this guy, like, who changed your diapers? You know what I'm saying? Like, what, you were just born and like fully evolved as a grown man that like tells women that their beauty standards aren't like to your liking. It really made me sick. It really made me sick. Like, I don't let men talk to me that way. And I don't think that we should encourage men to talk to women that way. And that was my big take. Carlos said a lot of great stuff. Noah said a lot of great stuff. You said a lot of great stuff. But I really felt like there should be something from a woman.
Hmm. Yeah, and I'm glad to have you on to share an alternative opinion too, and I appreciate you for sharing that and being willing to share the disagreement. I do want to explain my interpretation of the song when I first read it, and I have the lyrics here. I can pull them up. So when I heard this the first time, these lyrics, well, God, if you're 5'3" and you're 300 pounds, taxes ought not pay for a bag of fudge rounds. Young men are putting themselves 6 feet in the ground because all this damn country does is kicking them down. I interpreted this as him saying, in this system, so many people are deprived of good paying jobs and wages, as well as being deprived of nutritious food, that all the country offers them is welfare checks so they can barely get by, barely scratch by, and then it throws at them unhealthy processed food. So I thought these lines were to be read in tandem. Like, people are stuck on social services in order to survive, rather than getting enough to survive from their work or from whatever. And then the only kind of food that's available for them is highly processed food that you would get from a company like Little Debbie, which is then causing young men to put themselves 6 feet in the ground because the country keeps kicking them down. So I read these lyrics together, right? I read it less as, victim blaming, less as him saying that people are mooching off the welfare system and they're the problem, and more of him saying that the problem is a system that puts people on welfare, that forces people to go on welfare in order to even get by and feed their families, and then shoves and advertises a bunch of unhealthy processed food to them. And obviously, under socialism, we would like a system where people aren't forced to go on welfare in order to scrape by, and where people have access to healthy, nutritious food, and where people have enough free time in a day to cook more healthy food for themselves. But I mean, that might be a blind spot on my part. I see how for sure it could be interpreted as a form of victim blaming, or as saying the people who are on welfare is the problem with the system. But the first time I heard it, I read it more as a critique of the system that creates a situation where so many people are in poverty. So yeah, do you have a response to that?
No, not really. I just wanted to talk about welfare some more. I wanted to talk about the like the absolute non-safety net that we have in this country. So recently, my boyfriend and I got approved for food stamps, and we got a total of $98 a month in food stamps. Like, I don't know what they think you're supposed to buy with that. So, like, we don't, like, we try to save our last $8 worth of food stamps, and got by on that as long as possible. Yesterday, he went and sold blood. He's at work right now. He works full time. And it's like we went to the mission to eat dinner. They didn't have any food left, so we used the money that he made selling blood to get groceries to get dinner last night. And I mean, I don't see any I mean, yeah, you guys talked about it already, but I can't tell you, like, this image of the welfare queen and women living high on the hog off of welfare, it's just not even real. And it's a great disservice. It's a great disservice to other working class people to talk like this. And I'm not saying that as a leftist, as like, oh, I read too many books. I'm saying that as like, I'm struggling.
For sure, and I'm sorry to hear that. I've definitely been there. Having to sell plasma in order to buy groceries at the end of the week is horrible, and nobody should have to live like that in the wealthiest country in the world. And a lot of times, this is my main critique of the welfare system, is that it's a subsidy for like capitalists, like the Walton family who own Walmart, who don't pay their workers enough to survive. I guess what I'm saying is, I read the song as him saying, if you're on welfare, the only options you have are cheap crap or unhealthy crap. You don't have like organic, nutritious food that you would get at a place like Trader Joe's is extremely expensive under this system. And people who are scraping by don't have access to that kind of food. And to be clear, Midwestern Marks, all of us around the board are obviously for increasing welfare. We heavily criticized Joe Biden when he sent another $1 billion to Ukraine, and cut welfare and food stamps for people in this country. Right? We're all for increasing that. I guess the area of disagreement comes with the interpretation of the song.
Yeah,
Was
I
he bashing the
disagree.
welfare system and the capitalist system of food production that we have, or was he victim blaming? I don't know. It would be awesome to have him right here so we could ask. But
Yeah, I think you're being very generous, giving him the benefit of the doubt. I do not. But that's all I had to say. So you can move on to the next guest.
for sure. Well, thank you so much, Julie. Thank you so much for coming on. We appreciate that, and have a great rest of your day. All right. See, you see Twitter left? That's how you have a disagreement with someone without completely dismissing them as an evil person. Um, in solidarity with Julie, I hope that her economic conditions improve.